Hey, welcome. Today we are going to unpack a single, really powerful idea about love. One that might just change the way you look at, well, everything. It sounds so simple on the surface, but the depth here is just incredible. So, let's dive right in.
So here it is. This is the core statement. Love yourself, and you will give love to all. Just let that sit for a second. It's a phrase we've probably all heard in some form or another, right? But have we ever really stopped to think about what it actually means?
And that's the real question, isn't it? Is this just a nice, feel-good saying you'd slap on an inspirational poster, or is it a fundamental truth about how love actually works? That is exactly what we are going to break down right now.
Okay, so to understand the whole sentence, we've got to start at the very beginning. Love yourself. You know, it's a term that gets thrown around so much these days. So what are we really talking about when we say self-love?
This is where we get to our main idea for today. I want you to think of your capacity for love not as just a little cup you pour from, but as a fountainhead. Self-love isn't about being selfish at all. It's the absolutely essential work of building and filling your own inner wellspring so that it can flow. Because let's be honest, you can't pour from an empty fountain.
So how do we actually build this wellspring? Well, it kind of boils down to three core practices. First up, unconditional acceptance. That means embracing all of who you are, the good, the bad, the messy, all of it. Next, there's active nourishment. This is about intentionally taking care of your mental, physical, and emotional needs. And finally, gentle compassion. This is huge. It's about learning to treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer to a really good friend, especially when you mess up.
Okay, so we've got the foundation down, but what about that crucial middle part of the phrase, the "and you will"? This is the engine, the causal link. How does loving yourself just automatically lead to giving love to everyone else? This is what we're calling the Fountainhead effect. This slide lays out the two paths perfectly. On the left, you've got giving from scarcity. When our own well is dry, love starts to feel like a transaction. We give it hoping to get some validation back, and honestly, it just leaves us feeling drained and maybe even a little resentful. But then, on the right, you see giving from abundance. When your wellspring is full, love stops being a transaction. It becomes an overflow.
So let's walk through how this overflow actually happens step by step. First, you do the work we just talked about. You practice acceptance, you nourish yourself, you're compassionate with yourself. Then, step two, your internal wellspring starts to fill up. Your sense of worth and security isn't dependent on what other people think anymore. And that leads to the final step, which happens almost by itself, the natural overflow. Loving other people isn't some chore you have to do. It just becomes a natural, effortless extension of your own inner fullness.
Which brings us to the final part of our statement. You will give love to all. So let's take a look at what this outcome really looks like and what it feels like.
See, when love is an overflow, it's not a finite resource you have to budget anymore. It just flows out naturally towards others because you are totally secure in its source, which is you. And that means it becomes unconditional. It doesn't depend on getting a specific reaction back, because it's just an expression of your own inner state. It doesn't deplete you. In fact, it feels amazing.
All right, so after breaking all of that down, what's the one big idea you should walk away with? How do we take this from a cool concept and actually apply it to our lives? And it really all comes down to this single crucial point. We are so often taught to think that loving other people is an external act, something we direct at them. But this concept completely flips that on its head. The ability to genuinely, sustainably love other people, well, that's an inside job first. The love you show the world is really just a symptom of your own inner state. It all starts with you. And so, that leaves us with one final and very personal question. This isn't just an interesting idea to think about. It's a practice. So I'll ask you, how will you tend to your own fountainhead? What's one small thing you can do, maybe even starting today, to help it fill up and overflow?